Good day, viewers. Welcome to another biology lesson. This is your presenter, Mr. Mlenga. So right here with me, I've got two questions. That is question A and question B. So these two questions are coming from the topic called the nervous system and the sense organs. So let us see the questions. We are starting with question A right here. The question reads, Figure 10.1 shows the structure which occupies the position in the center. So this is the structure that occupies the position in the center, and this structure is labeled U, T, and V. So let us look at question 1. What name is given to the structure whose cross section is shown in figure 10.1? So they are referring to this structure right here. What name is given to it? So this is a structure that is showing the path taken by an impulse, okay, through the spinal reflex arc. So the name of this structure is called a reflex arc, okay. That is our answer. So we have said the name of this structure is a reflex arc, and a reflex arc is just the path taken by an impulse during a reflex action. So we have answered our question A1. Let us now move on to another question. So we come to question 2 right here. Identify the cell labeled T. So they want us to identify the name of this cell that is labeled what? T. So the name of this cell labeled T, this cell right here is called the relay neuron, okay? So a relay neuron is just a neuron that forms a link between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron, okay? So this is our answer. The name of the cell labeled T right here, this is the relay what? Neuron. So I have answered question A2. We now move on to another question, okay? So this is our question 3. State the function of the cell labeled U. So you can see right here, we have the cell that is labeled what? U. So this cell labeled U, it's a cell that is called the sensory what? Fiber. And what is the function of the sensory fiber? The function of the sensory fiber is just to conduct impulses to the central nervous system. That is, it conducts or transmits impulses to the spinal cord and the brain, because the central nervous system consists of the spinal cord and the brain. Okay, so we have said the part labeled U, which is the sensory fiber, conducts impulses to the central nervous system. So we have answered our question A3. Okay, we now move on to another question right here. The question reads, which two characteristics of part V makes it suitable for its function? Which two characteristics of part V makes it suitable for its function? So the part V they are talking about is this part. Okay, now when you look at this part V, this is the diastole end of the what? The axons, okay? This is the diastole end of the axons, and the characteristics that makes it possible for this part to perform its functions, there are many. So I'm just going to state two, okay? One, this part V, which is the diastole end of the axons, it has got the cytoplasm of the synaptic knob that contains numerous mitochondria which ensure enough energy is produced for its function. So this structure should have enough energy that will make it possible to perform its what? Function. Okay, that is our first characteristic. So we have said it has got the cytoplasm of synaptic knob that contains numerous mitochondria which ensure enough energy is produced for its what? Function. So that is our first characteristic. And our second characteristic is that the synapse contains on its viscous a chemical called a neurotransmitter, which is responsible for the transmission of the nerve impulse across a synapse. So in this case, a synapse is just a structure that permits a neuron to pass an electrical what? Impulse or a chemical signal that is sent to another neuron or a cell. Okay, that is another characteristic. So we have said another characteristic of the part V that makes it suitable to perform its function is that it has got a synapse that contains on its vesicles a chemical called the neurotransmitter, which is responsible for the transmission of the nerve impulse across the synapse. So these were the two characteristics that makes part V able to perform its function. So we have answered question A. We now come to question B. And this is our question B right here. Our question B reads, outline the path taken by an impulse through a spinal cord arc. Okay, so in order for us to outline the path taken by an impulse through a spinal cord arc, we need to consider some key components. Okay, so number one, we must know that it has to pass through the receptors that are in the skin that will detect change. Number two, it will pass through the sensory neurons, then it will pass through the spinal cord, the motor neurons, then finally to the effector organ. Okay, so the way you can outline the path taken by an impulse through a spinal reflex is that number one, we are going to have a sensory impulse from the sense organ is taken to the spinal cord in a fiber through the dorsal root. And in the central region of the spinal cord, the sensory fiber passes the impulse across a synapse to motor neuron, which conducts the impulse down the fiber through the ventral root to the muscle cells or the gland for a response. So this is how we can outline the path that is taken by an impulse through a spinal cord. So we've come to the end of our lesson. So thank you so much everybody for having time to view this content. This has been your presenter, Mr. Mlenga. Bye bye.